You guys, hello. Um, Hi. Thanks for joining us again. G here, along with David, Cole, and Jennifer Dick from Next Map, and along with Paul from Educator Innovator, continuing our Hack Your Notebook Day adventures. And we're joined now by Clem and soon a couple of folks from Workbench Projects who are also hacking notebooks and other paper electronics-y things. And we're going to hear about their experiences from a recent event called Fab10, which is held by the Fab Lab community on digital making and manufacturing. And so we're really excited to have everyone here to join us and tell their stories. So let's start by maybe hearing a little bit from Clem. Hi, can you hear us, Clem?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yeah, nice to meet you, and thanks so much for joining us today. Let's see if we can get the video going. But otherwise, yeah, so Clem was working with the Fab Kids portion of the Fab Festival, and so he worked well on some really love to hear more about if you'd like to share with us.
Yes. So I don't know, my video is not working. I don't know.
Oh, that's okay. We can also, if you have
Yeah.
links or photos you'd like to share, if you just put it in the chat window, I can pull it up and share it on the screen. But first of all, yeah,
Okay.
thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, we have.
So yeah, the Fab Kids event that we were doing was there were 60 kids
Wow.
divided into 5 groups, and each day it was a 5-day workshop, and each day they would do another workshop. And one of the workshops was called Simple Circuits, which also was divided into 2 parts. The first part was a simple circuit with copper tape and the LEDs provided by G-Key and GBtronics. Yeah, so doing a simple circuit and drawing something on the other page and then have it lit up by pushing the button as provided in the example of GBtronics. And the second part was doing some stuff with Arduinos. We prepared some components that they could use, some sensors and outputs, and so it was more kind of a plug and play thing.
Ah,
Yeah.
were you guys able to kind of combine the paper-based stuff along with the sensors and Arduino stuff later on?
No, we had it separated this time, but maybe for the future it would be probably a good idea to have it to try to combine those 2 things.
Yeah, that would be neat, but also no rush. I mean, it's kind of, I think the fun thing about it is people can explore the technical side of kind of combining new materials and whatnot, but also explore the making side. Like, there were some neat projects that you shared with us where people are drawing various scenes, so I'm going to see if I can pull those up. Or if you have some photos that you'd like to share, that would be really cool too.
No, I'm sorry, I don't have the photos. They are all in some Google Drive. I don't know if I find them or if I can look for them, but
I'll take a look for them.
Okay.
Thanks. Well, yeah. Do you have any questions for us while I pull up these? So here we have. Yeah.
Just ask me questions. I think it's better to.
Okay.
So what you want to know? That's my question. What I can tell you, I can just start telling.
Yeah.
Our experience that we had.
Yeah. If you could tell us, you know, what the kids enjoyed doing, the kind of things that made them most excited, and maybe some things that you would love to see more of or different in the future. We have right now an audience of folks who are also just getting started with circuits. A lot of them are educators, maybe in, for example, writing, who, as part of this event, the Hack Your Notebook Day, thinking about how do we add circuits to books, thinking about adding circuits to prototyping as we take notes, as we write, as we come up with stories. So we'd love to hear from your perspective of the Fab network, you know.
Okay. So on the first day, we just told them that, we just gave them all the LEDs and circuit stuff, a small explanation about circuits, and then they were kind of overwhelmed and didn't really know what to do. So they were just doing the exact example of that we printed out, the switch example, and so the next day we decided to just tell them what possibilities there are, or what the product will be at the end, so that they will have a drawing with some LEDs added, and they should think about what they want to draw and what they want to light up, so that they first think about what they want to do and then later how to do it. So, and this worked way better, and they really enjoyed it. They started drawing some really amazing stuff. I don't have photos right now, I'm sorry, but they are somewhere, and maybe I can send them to you later. And so this was a really good change in the approach onto this electronic stuff, to first ask them what they want to do, and then later find a way how to implement it, so that they think about what they actually want to do. This worked really good. And yeah, we actually had a lot of problems to get them to the Arduino program, because they just wanted to keep on drawing and finishing their paperworks. They really enjoyed it a lot. And even we had one group, the kids, I forgot to mention, they were between 11 and 15. But the groups were kind of age divided. So the smaller kids, they really liked it. But then we had one group with only 14 to 16 kids, and we were like, yeah, okay, now we're going to draw a simple circuit, and we, yay, excited, and we thought they didn't like it, but in the end they were kind of the most, they really enjoyed it the same as the younger kids. So I think that was what surprised us the most, because we thought like, okay, now we have 15-year-old teenagers, they might not want to do this, but they loved it as much as the 10-year-olds. So
that's really, really cool. Was it did they work on different like themes of things? That's really awesome to hear. I've also been working with a lot of younger kids, and I've also been lucky enough to also work with some designers, and it's pretty neat to see folks who kind of like to draw or like to make stuff to begin with, but then they get this extra new little thing, and I think that's what gets them like excited, even though it may seem off as like a beginner tech thing. There's a lot you can do with it if you're kind of into the drawing and the craft side.
Yes, we had one guy who just kept on drawing the whole time. It was like this super crazy monster with 2 red eyes. So he was really into drawing. So of course those people enjoyed a lot, but even other ones, they were the ones who are more interested in the technical side decided to put 3 LEDs on and make a traffic light, and then you can push different buttons, and then you light up the different traffic lights, so the red, yellow, and green. So yeah, those were the 2 approaches. Ones that really just focused on the drawing, and the other ones that tried to do some logic behind the drawing. So we had both of them, but in all kind of ages. So the age thing didn't really matter.
Cool.
I have a question. For the people who were interested in exploring the logical aspects of circuit making with the switches, did you tend to see people come up with an idea that inspired wanting to use a switch, or did they learn the switch functionality first and then want to come up with something that would then incorporate a switch?
Yeah, I think we had both, actually. so we told them that there is the possibility of a switch, but I think sometimes not all of the kids might have actually. It was a little bit chaotic, you have to say too. So yeah, and sometimes yeah, but I think it was more that we had to. We were telling them that there is the possibility to have a switch, and then they started to get the idea. So I think it was more like this.
Hmm. So also on the I'm curious on the design side, really, like were people often kind of drawing everything out first and then adding the circuitry, or were they kind of doing the circuitry first and then doing the drawing on top, or was it kind of back and forth?
I think the younger the kids were, the more drawing first and then putting the
Oh,
circuit, because and the older ones they just did the circuit as on the go.
okay, cool.
Um,
And
so
neat.
and it also
One thing,
depends. Most of the people, they just wanted to have some LEDs and a simple switch, so there was not that much of a circuit. It was just the connecting.
yeah, I think that's worthwhile. Even, I mean, even in creating a switch and a light, there can be a lot of space for debugging in there too. So, but that's
Yeah.
really cool to hear that people felt comfortable enough with kind of the technical end to kind of go wild on the drawing end. So that's cool. We had
Ah,
a question. Yep,
now my
sorry.
video works. Now my video works. I know why.
Video! Welcome, Clem, to our show. Again. We also had a question. We'd love to learn more about the kind of Fab conference as a whole and what was the energy like in terms of making from the Fab Lab perspective. So, like, what is a Fab Lab, and what is this event that brings you all together?
For the kids or for adults as well?
How about both? Maybe we can start with the kids.
So the kids, they I think they saw a lot of aspects throughout the 5 workshops, because they were from molding to casting, then simple circuits, then laser cutting, 3D printing. So they had all of the standard equipment used in a fab lab, and all the machines used in digital fabrication. They've been shown. They, they did some exercises with this and just saw the possibilities there. So that was kind of the idea of the whole workshop. So to get the idea or the possibilities of digital fabrication onto the kids. And for the adults, well, it was the the whole Fab10 was divided into 2 parts. We had the auditorium, where there were speeches and talks from companies, as well as other Fab Labs or special programs. And the other part was just a giant Fab Lab, which was divided into 10 Fab Labs. So where you could just have workshops and learn something new about. One workshop was held by was machines that make, so you could learn how to make a machine uh, with motors, basically, and how to program them, basically anything. And there was also the space to have foo sessions, they call this, where you could just meet up with 10 people and then start doing your own workshop or just create something. We had a lot of laser cutters, like there were a lot of those machines all over the place, and you could just start doing. So it was kind of a mix of exchange of information, but also exchange of like a hands-on
Yeah.
approach of knowledge transfer. So we would do something together, invent something together.
Cool. Yeah, there's the theme of digital fabrication is really neat and kind of, I think, important and popular these days. I think for when I think of digital fabrication, I think of like creating digital files that if various people have the same machines, they can make the same thing off of that digital file, and then like tweak and like remix and then share with other people, because once it's digital, it's online, right? And then that reminds me of this other theme that's kind of really popular these days about connected learning, which I think is very similar to that in the sense that it's about learning and sharing together. And so that's kind of the theme that kind of runs throughout today, which is how we're doing this like online web hangout. I'm talking to you in Barcelona, but I'm in Cambridge, and all these other folks from Virginia and all across the states are kind of working together and sharing. So that's just really neat that this is happening at all, and it's cool. So I'm curious, what made you decide to work specifically with the Fab Kids in your own line?
Well, basically, I was doing an internship here in Barcelona at the Fab Lab, and the organizer of Fab Kids asked me if I would join, and I just said yes because I thought it's a nice concept. The concept, I think, was the thing that
Okay,
convinced me.
cool. The kids are pretty cute too, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they were.
I had a question, G, if I could jump in.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I think one of the things that we haven't talked about, we've definitely done a number of webinars, and we've had lots of conversations about paper circuitry, and we've just seen the power of it. One aspect of your work that I think hasn't really been talked about much is this idea of focusing on open technologies. And I wonder, because I know that that's also a critical piece with the Fab Lab work, and I'm wondering why is that so important? I think for our audience, for educators who may not have a good sense of what even open means, or perhaps they do have some sense of open, but it's perhaps not exactly the same as the way you might be thinking of it, or Clem. I was wondering if you could explain a little bit what open means to you and why that's important in this work.
Okay, I think if I understood correctly, I might say that all of the stuff, all the knowledge we learned and all the workshops we created, they are collected in a small booklet, and they will go online so that everyone can look at what we did and how it went and what possibilities there are to improve it. And we put it online so you can read about it. I don't know when this will happen, but it will happen in the next few weeks. And that's basically what I think open means, so that you have the access to the information and you can also participate, so that if you want to do a workshop similar and you look it up, you do it, and you have some feedback that is also considered, so that you can give the feedback, and so that the knowledge is accumulated in one place, which is on some website at the moment. That's the most convenient thing. So that throughout space you can still collect the knowledge in one place and have it there and have access to it without any constraints. Was that the question, or did I go off in a completely wrong direction?
Well, I think that.
Yeah, that was definitely it. And
Okay.
I guess I also just wonder. I mean, I would love to hear from G as well. Why does open matter in this work to you?
Why does open matter? Well, I think if you do the stuff by your own, you have ideas and you try to do something. But sometimes I think you cannot get the whole picture, and you might overlook something, and that's where open comes in to help you actually improve. So that's what I think. So you can't, like 4 eyes are better than 2. That's kind of the.
And
if you have it in English too, and that's a German.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, for me, I mean, definitely to have more people check something is like more ideas, more perspectives, more a wider horizon, because different people have different experiences, so they're gonna see the same. A bunch of people are gonna see the same thing, but get something different out of it. And to be able to make it open means everyone can then talk back about what they think about a certain idea or a machine or an event or community or whatever, or a problem, a challenge. So I think that's one thing, to make people to make it so that people can actually get back together, even if the thing is visible, if it's not open, even if you know about it, you can't contribute your own perspective. Also, I think it's just really, really motivating for me when I'm not doing things purely on my own. Part of the fun for me as a person who likes to make stuff is like actually making, doing the hands-on part. But it's also really, really neat to be thinking of it as, to share with other people, to then again get all this feedback or ideas or responses that I would never have thought of. And also, it's just, I think, definitely motivating to work together on stuff. And the more open, especially digitally, if you put your ideas or especially your progress as you go along it online, then you get people from all over the place who you would never even imagine being able to collaborate with, kind of coming together. And so, again, making it as open as possible creates more and more opportunity for like people all over who you can't even imagine to come and work with you and contribute to your project. And so I think that it's worth it. And the more eyes and the more hands are like on a project, because you made it open, the more likely it is to survive. Because even if you have all these different things going on and maybe you take a break on this thing, there are going to be all these other excited people kind of getting inspired and getting ideas and running with the idea, and the idea will live on too. And I think that's something really, really neat about making things open. You never realize where a project will pop up and bloom and grow and evolve. So that's kind of why I think it's really, really important and wonderful.
And also, I think it's also one very important thing is the experience. So it's way faster than you accumulate the experience way faster. So someone might have another approach and find out that it's way more effective or way more just better for the kids, and then so you learn from each other, and that this goes way faster. You might get to the same point in 30 years if you keep on doing it, but you might get there faster if you get input from the outside.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, that's a great point too. Were you going to add something, Jennifer?
I was just going to say that I've heard from a lot of educators that we've been working with that they're so appreciative that you've documented so much of what you've done and that you're sharing everything, because it really gives people confidence too, to not just see like what the intro projects look like, but to have an idea of what can happen after you've been working in this way, and knowing that there are resources online and people that they can talk to ask questions and get inspiration and new ideas. So like you're saying, it really does help build the community and the accessibility and making people feel like these are things that and practices that they themselves can do.
Yeah, and the neat thing is, I think, although I personally find it really hard to like take a pause and take a picture and things like that, as I'm sure everyone who's really excited about making something, you've all been there. I think it's really neat, especially when you're first learning something or first inventing, I don't know, a new thing for yourself. That's to like actually share that moment, because all of those things that seem that once you kind of understand something becomes natural, like all of those little things, new learner things are what's actually so valuable. So I think you don't have to be an expert to share and document what you're learning. I think everyone's lessons are really important and worthwhile too, which is why it's so fun to like do workshops with new folks and like with kids too, especially because they come up with all sorts of hilarious and wacky ideas wouldn't imagine. But yeah. So I think we're actually heading toward the end of our session here. I wonder if you have any like thoughts you'd like to share with us all around. But
well, not really. I said anything that so yeah. I'm glad that I could help, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing your experiences. Really, really good point about. It sounds like making things as open-ended as possible is really what makes the experience way more fun. Like having folks come up with ideas that they care about first before trying to build something too. I think it's doing that as well. Cool. Well, thank you so, so much for joining us and sharing your stories, Clem. And
No problem.
yeah, and we'll keep us posted on what you guys come up with, and we'll keep you posted too. Um, there was David, would you mind helping me out with your
Yeah,
conclusion of
absolutely.
closing
Clem,
text?
thanks for
I'm
joining.
really excited about this thing.
Yeah, there's a thing we like to say when we're on the Educator Innovator webinar channel. And first of all, it's thanks, Clem, for joining in the time frame that you're in and sharing those thoughts about the making and the assembly and the production. And you too, G. It'll be great to follow you. But this is an Educator Innovator production, and to learn more about Educator Innovator and its network of partners, sign up for Educator Innovator newsletter, educatorinnovator.org. If you're hacking notebooks, don't forget to use the hashtag HYNV2014. And for more information on connected learning and this whole community that's unfolding, check out the makesummer.org and follow the Twitter hashtag of MakeSummer. Thanks a lot, everybody. Clem, nice to hear from you. I hope to make some more connections and see you again.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about places we should check out or things you think would be fun for folks?
Yeah, I will keep you updated about the Fab Kits when all the stuff is online, and so you can check it out and maybe give some feedback and some thoughts. That would be nice. Yeah, that's it, basically. So.
Great. Yeah, send us a link. We'll forward it on. Thanks so much.
Okay. Well,
Okay. Have a good
see you.
night.
Bye.
See you.